Hi everyone, welcome to PSM's first video podcast. Since this is our first podcast, we wanted to do something special. So last week at E3 we took our cameras to Sony's pre-E3 media briefing, where they announced all the big news about the PS3. Some of it good, some of it not so good. So let's take a look at highlights from that briefing, as well as our thoughts on what went down, and we'll see you back here in a minute.
PSP now has a web browser and features designed to enhance video, audio, and of course image usage, as well as improved content protection and network security.
Alright, so I went to E3 really hoping that the PSP was really going to finally define itself and just show something really remarkable. And, it wasn't a bad showing. They had a handful of interesting games, and, I'm not going to say that having a GPS and a camera built in is by any means a bad thing, but I feel like it's still kind of more of the same strategy. Nothing really bowls you over, but it's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff coming, more than I thought there would be, and it was definitely, I think if anything, it was a lot better showing than last E3.
So Sony showed a lot of this Gran Turismo HD demo, which was running at 1080p and looked really sharp, but because the graphics were pretty much lifted straight out of Gran Turismo 4 on the PS2, it wasn't really the best way to show off the PS3. This was actually the first demo they showed, if I remember right. Is that right, Randy?
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Actually, I think they might have showed a little too much of this because other than the frame rate, it really wasn't a real showcase, and I think I actually saw some people starting to get tired and wanting them to move on to something else.
Yeah, it really set off kind of a dull kind of start to the press conference.
During the press conference, Sony really briefly touched on some of the basic features of their online service. They haven't said what it's called or anything like that, but we do know that all of those features will be free. And then, Chris, I know you talked to Sony about actually playing games online.
Right. Sony, it wasn't on that screen, so a lot of people got worried, but playing games online is part of that package. It is free, so no worries there.
Definitely a highlight of the press conference was Sony showing a snippet of the full Metal Gear Solid 4 trailer, and from what I had heard, Sony really wanted Konami to give them some footage from their own trailer to show during the press conference, because this is by far the most impressive thing that anyone has seen running on PS3 or any other system, Chris.
Yeah, well, we were talking about how they really wanted to stack the deck as much as possible, didn't they? So that hopefully by the time they got to the big price bomb at the end, people would think the PS3 was worth it.
Yeah, well, I would personally buy it for just Metal Gear Solid 4. But,
a lot of people will, yeah.
But I don't think I'm representative of a lot of people.
Alright, so the tilt controller. All I could think about watching this was, oh my god, they just straight mugged Nintendo. Now everybody since then at E3, everyone from the higher-ups at Sony were all saying, no, look, we've been designing this for many years. We decided to bring it to market now because the prices were good. And it just so happens Nintendo were thinking along the same lines. But, Randy, I don't know about you, but once I finally kind of got over feeling like, man, can't Sony think of an original idea, I thought, well, hey, it's only going to be a good thing to have that functionality in the PS3.
That's true, and trying it out with the Warhawk demo, it felt really great, and the controller feels really good, but, they totally ditched the whole boomerang design. It's like, what was that in the first place? And they said that they've been, wanting to do this ever since the first PlayStation, and, going back to Nintendo's Wii and its motion sensing, you just have to think that they're like, hey, let's add that into our system too. And
yeah.
So it seemed really like they were just aping Nintendo in that respect.
And you can't talk about the tilt functionality without mentioning that they had to get rid of the vibration.
Right.
Sony claims because of the, it interfered with the tilt sensors. Other people claim it was because of the immersion lawsuit against supposed patent infringement by Sony on the DualShock technology. Either way, it's gonna stink to not have the vibration, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of developers are saying that too. But we'll have to see what the trade-off is in the end.
So here we are, the big bomb, the price bomb.
Yeah, and they saved it for last, and they made it seem early on like they weren't even gonna reveal it at all.
I know. I can just imagine what it must have been like for the presenters leading up to this, the weeks leading up to it, knowing that at the end of this conference they would have to drop this bomb on everybody.
And it seemed like they wanted to get it out of the way really quickly, and I swear I could actually hear people gasping in the audience.
Yeah, there's the only good thing you can say is it's a cheap Blu-ray player, but how many people want Blu-ray? I guess we'll have to wait to find out.
Yeah.
No, it's not that bad. Actually, after what you just saw after the press conference, we got to go on the show floor and play some PS3 games, Resistance, Warhawk, great video trailers for games like Metal Gear Solid 4 and Final Fantasy 13. So even though it's really pricey, there's some good stuff on the way, and that softened the blow a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there were some awesome games coming, and price is definitely, it's twice the price the PS2 was. But for what you get, I mean, you get a Blu-ray movie player, you get the most powerful console ever made, and you really get a lot for the money. But like you were saying to me earlier, you know, it's like, do you have the money, or do you even want to spend that much money on a game console?
Right. Like everyone needs a car, but you know, we don't all drive Porsches, and there's a reason for that, and it's not because we don't want it. So we'll see how it goes, and in future podcasts, we hope to be able to bring you looks at a lot more games and give figure out more of the story of just what is PS3 going to be like when it ships, and what's it going to be like years down the road. So please stay tuned, keep checking us out, and that's it for our first podcast. Thanks for watching.